Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Repti Zoo's T5 high output UVB lighting kit. So I get asked about this quite often. This is a very popular T5 high output UVB kit because it's on Amazon and it's very easy to get to. A lot of stuff is not. So not only am I going to show you how it works, I'm going to show you how to place it inside of your reptile tank and where to place your basking spot, the inches it needs to be. Let's get into it, shall we? Before we get into the video, let me explain to you what this instrument I'm using is and how it relates to the keeping of dragons or other types of reptiles and UVB. So if you go outside and it's a really harsh day and people are telling you to wear sunscreen, it's because the UV index is very high. Now we have a scale to measure UV. It's like from 1 to 10. Anything around a 10 is incredibly damaging. It can cause eye problems, skin cancer, stuff like that. So the higher it goes, and a lot of desert species live in that really high UVI scale. This includes like a Eurymastix who wants to have a UVI between like a 5 and an 8. And you might think, hey, Australia, that's pretty crazy. There's people who went to Australia and had a UVI meter and it's a 10. It's like even a 14, incredibly high in the desert. But the bearded dragons aren't really out basking at that time. They're kind of in the bush under some shade. In the shade, it's actually very high as well. It could be like a 6. So people a lot smarter than me made a graph of zone, pretty much, a Ferguson zone. And all these lizards, they went around measuring the UVI of the sun and they put them in a category. So there's 4 categories: Ferguson zone 1, Ferguson zone 2, Ferguson zone 3, and 4. And it goes from 0 to 10, and that's where your lizard's gonna sit in. It's gonna sit in one of those categories, in those zones. So when you see your lizard in that zone, you know how much UVB to provide it. You're gonna have some that say like 6% or like a 5.0, and that's good for like zone 2. You have some that's like a shade dweller, like really low UVB. That's good for zone 1. You'll have some for zone 3. It's called like, sometimes those are like called not dragons, but like just desert. It'll be like 12%, so a 10.0, that's what that is. And you'll have extreme ones. Those can be labeled like 150, 15.0 if you ever see those around, or 14%. And we have a 10.0, so this is what you would see for Ferguson zone 3, pretty much. But to achieve a Ferguson zone 3, this thing's gonna have to put out in between a 2.9 or a 7.4 on the Ferguson zone. So for measuring the distance of the UVB lamp to a basking spot, I'm going to be using this 16-inch ruler. I don't have an 18-inch, and the enclosure is 18 inches that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using a 40-gallon ZooMed enclosure with screen and without screen to show you the effects. One thing I did notice when I took the Repti Zoo out of the box is there is a misspelling on the label on top of the fixture right here. It says the cover frame. I think they mean frame. I don't know how nobody at their company caught this, but hey, that's why I'm here. I'm telling you right now, Repti Zoo, I caught it, okay? Put an E on that sucker. One thing I didn't really understand from the instructions that clear myself, maybe I'm stupid, but there's this little tab on the reflector part of the fixture, and it says you can pull out this metal piece, the reflector itself, and like, I guess, clean it or something, or turn it over. I turn it over, and I will say that if you turn it over, you will get 0 reflective qualities. It pretty much cancels out all UVB. This is it right here, just like a couple inches, like 2 inches away, and it's barely getting UVB. And for example, if I flip it back to its regular side, which its regular side is this right here, you won't be able to see the sticker. It'll be like hidden underneath the reflector. And then this is the side that has no UVB reflective qualities at all. The sticker will be poking out and very obvious and very visual. Also, this comes with some little brackets where you can attach this inside of the cage. You can attach it to the screen of the cage, which is pretty awesome. I like that a lot. Or if you have like a wooden or like PVC enclosure, you can screw it to the top of it as well. So I will be testing it like this with it right on top of the enclosure, just laying across the screen. And I'll also test it like this inside, as you can see, like right here, just gonna be on the inside, very close. So to set the premise of this, I did have 2 fixtures. I had one that I used for 1 month and one that I used for 2 weeks, 12 hours a day on each of those. So this is the enclosure. I already got it set up as a naturalistic looking enclosure. The substrate is 3 inches high. It's filled up to the top of the like substrate layer on the ZooMed enclosure itself. And the basking spot to the side of it, as you can tell, is around 4.5 inches tall. So as you can tell, I dug a little hole, and this is very close to the basking spot. It would be basically if your lizard was laying right next to this rock or on the rock, this is the reading you will get. And it is a 1.9. Which to me is incredibly low for a 10.0 bulb, but this is through the screen, so it's understandable. Most screen blocks out 30% of UVB rays. So next up, let's put it inside of the enclosure. This is with no screen. I have it mounted. Let's see what the readings are here. And the readings are inside of the cage. They are 3.2, which is okay. It still is a little bit lower. If anything, you would want to bring it up like a little bit more. Now this reading right here is actually 9 inches away from the bulb with no screen. And that's an appropriate size if, say, you had a bearded dragon. As you can see right here, this is 9 inches away, it's 4.9, 8 inches away, it's a 5.1. Next up is the fixture that I had on for 1 month, 12 hours a day. Let's get rocking. The same ruler, it's the same exact scenario. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it was like 10 inches away. And this is the weird thing about it, is the one that was on for 1 month, maybe just had extra time to burn it, I don't know, but it was inconsistent. It actually gave out more UVB than the one that was on for 2 weeks, which is a little worrisome. I don't know what that was about, but yes, it was giving out more UVB. And this is still an appropriate UVI Ferguson zone reading for like a basking spot for a bearded dragon right there. That is 9 inches away. Like I said, I don't know why, but it was stronger than the bulb that was on less, which is kind of weird. And here it is on the ground floor, 3.7. That's actually not that bad either, but it's just weird that the inconsistency of it. I would go ahead and say, go ahead and make it 9 inches again. Now let's test the Repti Zoo fixture 1 month with the screen. I had it on 12 hours a day for 1 month, and here it is again. This is gonna be around 12 to 13 inches on from the basking to the bulb itself, as you can see right there. Okay, so here it is, 12 inches away through the screen. And as you can tell, it is very low, just like the previous fixture before it. And there it is right there. It's like 5.5 inches, and that's like pretty much a good UVI basking zone for a bearded dragon. So this is why you have to have it installed inside of the tank with no screen blocking it at all. All the testing is done. My final thoughts on the Repti Zoo fixture is this. I was gonna say, now obviously you can work with him, but today I'm in a group on Facebook called the Reptile Lighting group. You can join it. I'll leave it in the link in the description. But someone had the same thoughts I had. And that's the reason I wanted to make this video, because there's just so much people asking about this. Someone had bought this, and their readings were drastically different than my readings. Their readings were at 17 inches with no screen. They were getting 3.0, which is incredible. So it's just, I don't know now. I can't really recommend this product at all, because if it is that drastic, then what I just tested almost makes no sense. I would need to test 100 of these randomly bought throughout the year at different production times to really give you a solid answer. So as of right now, I can't really recommend this product, because it's not only was it just a drastic difference with someone else's findings to my findings, it's also the fact that for me, this was incredibly weak. This was, for a desert bulb, this was producing, usually for desert bulbs, you want a Ferguson Zone 3 reading. That's a good desert bulb. Ferguson Zone 3 or even a 4. This was producing stuff in like the range of a Ferguson Zone 2, which it's okay. And the fact that I had to work with it, I had to put it inside the enclosure at only like 5 inches away with the screen, it wasn't getting that much UVB. I really can't say if it's, how much UVB this is going to put out, because you really need a solar meter to check it. Usually I can have good readings, because most readings for all UVB bulbs are pretty consistent with the manufacturing. You get the bulb, it's fairly in the same range, but for it to be that much of a difference, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. So it is weak, if you, there's no way to know, you know what I mean? I can't tell you now, like, oh yeah, put it around at 9 inches, because I don't know if that is going to be appropriate or not. If you have one of these that are putting out what I'm putting out, or if you have another one that's putting out incredibly high stuff, you're going to have to put it on top of the screen, and it would be okay around 18 inches. Just don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to know if you don't have a solar meter. And that's why I always tell everybody, invest in a solar meter. It helps tremendously. If you can tell if your bulb's bad, you can tell if it's old, you can tell where to place it. It's a really good tool to have. I know it's very expensive. It is very expensive. And I wish I could have helped more in this. I had a whole ending to this a little differently, saying like, it's okay, you could work with it, go here. But after seeing that post right before I was about to publish this video, I was like, oh, if this was the universe telling me like, hey, hold on, okay? There's something you know here, and that's where I am at right now. I hope this review was somewhat helpful. I hope I helped in any way possible. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.